Good afternoon, everyone. We're back. This is the Pop-Up Authors Live Tuesday edition 6:30 show. We have some amazing authors on the panel this afternoon. We have Felicia Kelly Brookins, Patrice Rivers, author Samantha Jackson, Michelle E. Watson, Francis Dupree, Joy Blue, and rounding us out is Arthur Rasheedah Jackson. All right. You got it? Can you hear me? I need to see the comments, baby. All right, we're finna get started. First, we have Felicia Kelly Brookins. Good afternoon, Felicia. How you doing?
Hi, Queenie. I'm doing great. How about you?
Fine, fine. I hope this works this time. 2:30, we had a problem. So, you doing okay?
I am doing great.
Okay.
Just taking it one day at a time.
Okay, tell us about yourself. You can tell us about your books, and if you want to read snippets from your book, you have the floor. You can go ahead.
All right. Well, my name is Felicia Brookins. I am an award-winning Christian fiction author of the Christian fiction book entitled Sister Nadine's Ways. It is a trilogy. Right now, I only have the first book out, but I have two more that are coming. I have some other works that are going to be coming out in the future, also in the form of short stories. So that's going to be pretty interesting. That's the first time trying that. I am a mom of a freshman, sophomore, junior. I think he's a junior now. I've written enough checks. I should know that. And I'm married. And right now, I'm usually pretty active, but right now I'm stuck at the house like everyone else. So I've been working on stage play during that time. So hopefully there'll be something they'll produce later on this year or early part of next year. Just to show you all the cover of the book. If I can get it in there, it is Sister Nadine's Ways. Mm-hmm. And it is a book, to put it in short form, I would say this book is about a woman that is a victim of generational trauma. And it is a generational trauma that comes about from religious hypocrisy, from religious tradition. It comes about from abuse that she's seen in the home. It comes about due to verbal abuse from her mother. And so she has three daughters. And what she's doing is carrying on that generational trauma. So you can say that the curse is continuing through the bloodline. She has a very domineering personality. She is always having to be in control. She's very domineering with her children, with her husband, and also with her church. And so she is one of those people that feels like everybody else is headed to hell except her, and everything she does is right, and she justifies that. Mm-hmm. So she can see everybody else is wrong, but she can't see hers. And her husband is unable to be the head of the household because of that personality, because of that spirit that he's dealing with, that dominating spirit, that generational trauma spirit. And because of that, he becomes an alcoholic and dependent on drugs. And in the process of that, he understands that part of her anger is directed at him because of that. But he also pleads to her that she needs to take a look at herself in the mirror, which she refuses to do. And he's asking that of her because of her three daughters, because if she doesn't stop, he's beginning to see that the same thing is happening with them, that they're acting the same way. They're lashing out because of what's going on at home, because not only is she abusing her daughters, she's also abusing her husband. So in this book, I introduced domestic abuse with a little bit of a twist that you don't always see or hear about, which is domestic abuse when it is a man. So that is one of the things that I ask churches or church members when I talk about this book is, does your church have a plan when the domestic abuse victim is a man? And so what I would like to share with you all is just a short excerpt from the book The scene that I'm reading from is going to be a scene where Kenny Simmons, which is her husband, her name is Nadine Simmons, comes home and he finds her in the bedroom talking with one of the members of her church. And this is a member of her church that she's had an affair with. Okay. So it says Kenny's head raised all the way up as he almost fell backwards. He seemed to be moaning. Patsy heard him and her heart began to break as he spoke. That's the oldest daughter. Please, Lord, please tell me it's not true. She wouldn't do this to me, he moaned. Ann walked in just as Kenny started moving down the hall, holding his balance with his hands on the wall. That's the middle daughter. Before Patsy could grab him to stop, he flung open the door to Nadine's bedroom. Brother Ryan turned around just in time to see Kenny come down on him fist first. Nadine jumped back in shock and started screaming. Kenny landed on him and started beating him in his face. They were tearing Nadine's bedroom apart. I told you if I ever caught you here again, I was going to kill you, and I meant it, Kenny roared. How the hell are you going to come into my house and talk to my wife about loving her and how much she means to you? You're supposed to be a man of God, yet you've been screwing a married woman? You should have been loving your own wife more than mine, because your wife is going to be a widow after tonight. I promise you that. Nadine was trying to pull him off of Brother Ryan, but she couldn't. Kenny was gone. He was dangerously out of control. He was hitting Brother Ryan so hard, Patsy could hear the punches as the blood and the spittle flew out of his mouth. He looked like a rag doll tossed in the wind. She could only stand and watch him get what she thought he had coming to him. She wasn't going to get Kenny off of him. Nadine looked at her with panic in her eyes. Why are you just standing there? Go and get some help. He's going to kill him if we don't help him. Oh my God, Patsy, do something, Ann screamed. Patsy wasn't going to move. Nadine was pulling on Kenny's shirt, but she couldn't budge him. Brother Ryan was bleeding pretty bad, and he was trying to crawl away from Kenny, but he couldn't get far. Every time he tried to go forward, Kenny would slam him back and keep pounding on him. By the time Nadine ran out of the room, he somehow had managed to crawl into the hallway. Kenny was still picking him up and pounding him down. Ann stood with her hand over her mouth in shock. Patsy wanted to cheer Kenny on. She wanted him to bash Brother Ryan's face in. The thrill of it was a bit scary to Patsy. It had to be evil to be enjoying this so much. Nadine came down the hall running. Patsy looked at her and then she saw it. It was large and it was silver. She froze. Nadine was holding a gun and yelling at Kenny to stop before she shot him. Kenny didn't hear her, but Patsy did. Ann began to yell, "Stop, Daddy, stop. She has a gun. She has a gun," Ann yelled. The words registered with the picture in front of her face, and Patsy sprang into motion. She went towards Nadine to grab the gun. Ann ran out the back door to go and get help. As Patsy got close to her, Nadine called Kenny one more time, and he looked up. As he looked at her with an animal-crazed look in his eyes, he saw the gun. She pulled the trigger, and Patsy heard the gun go off 3 times. She looked back at Kenny and saw his body jerk forward from the first shot. When Nadine fired the next 2 shots, he fell over to the side of Brother Ryan. Patsy saw it and she heard the shots, but everything began to move in slow motion. She heard a scream come from her belly so loud she must have pulled it from years of being abused, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. She ran to Kenny and blood was flowing everywhere. This just couldn't be happening. God, no, not now. Please, Lord, please don't let him be dead. Please, God, I can't live without my daddy. She screamed so loud she drowned out the rest of the world. She put her father's head in her lap and started shaking him to wake him up, but he wouldn't open his eyes. She looked towards the door and saw Eva, her aunt, rushing in. Grandma Ruth was in her wheelchair at the hallway entrance. She was looking at Kenny on the floor, and she was crying as she mumbled under her breath, "Nadine, oh my God, what have you done?" Eva rushed over to Kenny and knelt down. "I think he's dead, Nadine. I can't get a pulse. I think he's dead." Patsy heard her say the words, "He's dead." And then she heard her own voice scream, "No, God, please no." And then the darkness opened up and Patsy fell into it. Without Kenny, she didn't want to live. As she went under, she heard her Aunt Eva say, Nadine, I knew one day your fake sanctified ways were going to catch up with you. That's it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now tell us.
Thank you.
Oh, tell us how we can get in touch with you and where we can find your book.
I am on social media. I'm Sister Nadine's Ways on Facebook. Also, Author Felicia Brookins or Felicia Brookins, award-winning author on Facebook. Also, Sister Nadine's Ways on Instagram. And also, Sister Nadine's Ways is on Twitter. So I'm on all of those platforms, and you can reach me at any of those. My book is available at Walmart.com, BarnesandNobles.com, and also Amazon.com.
All right. Thank you for coming in today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Stay safe.
You too. Thank you. All right. That was Felicia Kelly Brookins. Next, we have on the panel Patrice Rivers.
Okay.
Patrice,
Can you see me? Because I can't see you so much. Oh, connecting.
you see down at the bottom it says mute and stop cam.
No.
There you go.
Okay.
How you doing?
All right. Are you able to hear me? I'm
Yeah.
getting you.
Yes. Okay. You can tell us who you are, tell us about your books, and you can read a snippet from your book.
Okay. My name is Patrice Rivers. I'm an author of 8 books. I write children books. I write poetry. I write short fiction. And pretty soon I'll be writing urban Christian fiction and nonfiction. Also, I have my own brand called That Rivers Girl brand. So today I want to share 2 books. One is my children's book, because I want to redo this one again and read a snippet this time. And my other book it was published recently, well, not recently, February, on Valentine's Day. It's a collection of love poetry, things I've been through, heartbreak, and toxic relationship. So I definitely want to read to you guys Love Scorn out this one. Okay. Break my heart again, pouring out my eyes again. For what? So you can continue to hurt me again. I was stress free with the extra baggage you sprung me. I'd rather be free. Stress out of you hurting me. I should be laughing and smiling, not crying and feeling hurt. It's like you have heart. I don't need the pieces, and I'm trying to figure out why. Don't you love me? Of course, they say love is blind. Am I blind by your love? So that's one of my poems. It's 14 poems in my book. It's called A Love Scorn, and it's available on Amazon. It's only $2.99 on the Amazon. So that's my latest poetry book, A Love Scorn, and 14 poems. So it's only 28 pages for this.
Okay.
Okay, so my next book, I did this before, but I kind of want to do it again because I haven't read anything from it. It's called Patricia's Guardian Angel, and it's my second children's book that's been published. It's about a little girl living with sickle cell. A lot of people don't really know about sickle cell, so I'm trying to advocate and promote this book a lot more because it's not only a children book, but it's a educational book as well to educate children and definitely adults about sickle cell. So of course, Patricia's Guardian Angel. So I was going to read a snippet from the book since I didn't do it last time. So I'm just going to do it this time.
Okay.
All right. So I was going to start from the beginning so it'll make more sense. All right. Hi, my name is Patricia, and I am 7 years old living with sickle cell disease. SCD is a genetic blood disorder that causes the red blood cells to turn into a sickle or banana-shaped cell. When the stop of the oxygen isn't reaching the brain, the cells are often stuck in the vessels, causing pain in the joints. It can also cause chest pain and shortness of breath for sickle cell patients like me. I hate the pain it causes. Ouch. And this is a picture of Patricia. You can see it by the window. And I was going to read one more snippet for you. It was a nice spring morning, and Mommy and Daddy said I can go outside and play for a little while the sun wasn't much out. Even though I have sickle cell, I still like to play kickball and with my best friend, LaShawn. I picked up a fallen flower that was on the ground and put it against my nose. I laughed out loud and skipped around the front yard. And this is, of course, another picture of Patricia playing with the flower. So I just want to give you a little bit of insight of, my book, Patricia's Guardian Angel, a book about a little girl living with sickle cell. I do have copies here, so anybody want to purchase an autographed copy, they can always reach me on Facebook.
All right. Thank you so much for coming
Does
in.
anybody have any questions? You're welcome.
Anybody got any
Thank
questions?
you for having me.
Anybody have any questions? I'm having to look over to see.
Yeah, I'll show y'all the book again. Patricia's Guardian Angel. And then my poetry, A Love Scorn, which is a collection of love poetry, love poems.
And it is National Poetry Month this month also.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep, definitely.
All right. Thank you so much for coming back in. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. All right, bye.
All right. That was Patrice Rivers with a children's book and a poetry book. Next, we have author Samantha Jackson.
Hello.
Good afternoon. How you doing? How you
Good.
doing?
How are you?
Fine. You can tell us about yourself, tell us about your books, and you can read snippets from your book.
Okay. I'm author Samantha J. Name is Samantha Jackson. I have been an author now for about 10 years. I have 5 books out and 2 anthologies on the way. I'm married and I have children and grandchildren and all that good stuff. I have my own title where I'm promoting right now, which is The Raw and the Real. And that is my new brand, The Raw and the Real. And what that means is radiant, authentic, and worthy, which is the raw, and the real is restored, endurance, ambitiously letting go. And that is the real. So that is what I'm focusing on now, which is my new book, The Raw and the Real, How to Live Your Best Life. And I do have other books out, Toxic Side Effects, which is about generational curses in a family. And I write basically Christian books, but they can go either way, but there's no profanity or anything in the books. But it's hard to find a genre for me. So a lot of people call it Christian. Some people call it romance. It depends. Help books. So I just say you pick a side and you decide what it is for you. I also wrote The Woman Cheater, Making It Do What It Do, Not My Way, about women that cheat, but it's not making it about actually going out there cheating, but actually knowing your worth as a woman. And then I wrote Stepping Out of Hell with High Heels On, which is about internet dating as a Christian, and how a lot of people go out and try to find relationships, and they're Christian women and men, but it's hard to find relationships because they feel that they have to stick into a certain way of acting as a Christian. So I wrote that book, but the newest book is The Raw and the Real: How to Live Your Best Life. And it's more of a help book. And what it talks about is being real in your life and learning how to deal with real situations, but learning how to also be in a situation to where you can live your best life through it all. So I talk about indifferent life. I talk about being in your unhappy place, suicidal mindsets. I talk about being death do us part, being divorced. I talk about family resentment, acceptance, and embracing the baggage. And I talk about raising your children and dealing with your adult children and things that you deal with on a daily basis that sometimes gets us down, and it doesn't allow us to live our best life because we're so focused on all of that. So that's the basis of my books.
Okay. Would you like to read a snippet from one or two of them?
Sure. I'll read something out of The Raw and the Real: How to Live Your Best Life. It says, embracing the baggage. Everyone has some baggage. You can use it to grow and journey into new places, or you can let it weigh you down. We take on so much in life. It would be that we feel we are responsible for everyone's stuff but our own. Then I talk about the different type of emotional baggages we have, or embracing the baggage. I talk about emotional baggage, negativity baggage, your past baggage. I talk about the guilt, the expectations, and other mistakes that people have made that you're taking on. All these things are carried around for years. One day I woke up and said, this is their mess, not mine. And I was hurt, but ready to heal and move on. I prayed for him, not against him, because until I forgave him, I could not move on. I wished him well and knew there was a God and he would see it all again. And that was my satisfaction. Now we say, I want to see it. You don't have to see it to know they get theirs. Their mistake were theirs to bear alone and not mine to take ownership of. We as humans take on more of people's garbage than we really have to, but we're good, loving, and caring people. There's nothing wrong with all of this. The big problem here is we care about other people's mess than our own. And my quote, because I have quotes in most of my books, in this chapter: running from things will always go with you if you don't release it where you found it. You will hate the next place you're running to, because what you're running from, you're carrying it with you.
Wow.
So my books, you can find me on Facebook, author Samantha Jackson, or you can go to my author page, author Samantha Joyner. And you can find my books on my website at www.authorsamanthaj. And you can find me on Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and Walmart.com. So my books are on all of those sites. And you can always reach out. Right now, I also am about to do an Inspiring You magazine, which is an international magazine. And I am a business and life coach as well. And right now, I am accepting letters from people to put in our new magazine that's coming out with Angela Smith. And I'm so excited about being on that project. But I do want to add, some people have questions about business or about writing or things that they're interested in and want to know more about what they should do. This is your opportunity to get your questions promoted in this magazine for July. So if you're interested in sending some questions or want to, some answers to all of your questions, feel free to email me at authorsamanthaj@gmail.com. And that way your questions can be published in that book as well.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and have a blessed day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. All right, that was author Samantha J. And next we have my girl, Michelle E. Watson. Hey,
Hello.
Michelle, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fine, how are you? Tell us all about you and your book, and you can read a snippet from it.
Okay. I am Michelle E. Watson, and I am married for 24 years. It'll be 25 in November. I have one daughter and two grandchildren, and we all live in the same house in Snellville, Georgia. And my first book, well, my first memoir was published in September.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about my journey through health and healing, particularly as I began to tell my story and how God just took me through so many things. And based on that book, which is called Peaceful Heart, Healthy Body,
Mm-hmm.
I have started a coaching program to help other women tell their story, particularly when they are dealing with chronic undiagnosed pain that the medical doctors really can't help with. And, that can be some autoimmune disease. Some people have asked me about that with lupus and certain types of arthritis. And those can be involved in needing to forgive and tell your story and let it go. But because they're under a doctor's care and I'm not a licensed counselor or a medical professional, I don't know that I want to work with them very closely just because of legal issues.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just need to tell your story because you've got past trauma that you haven't dealt with, a lot of times it'll show up in your body as physical pain. And I'm not the only one who's had that testimony. Other people have too. And there's a lot of medical research to that effect as well. And so I just really want to help women find the same path to healing that I've had. And so I hope that my book and my coaching will help do that.
All right. Do you want to read a snippet from your book?
Sure. This is the book. It's available on Amazon. You can see that there is no E, but that's because there's another Michelle Watson. And once my book got confused with hers on Goodreads, I said, I'm adding an initial. And so, so this one is the only one that will not have the middle initial. So I'm going to read a couple of things, but I want to read first the introduction because that's what seems to snag a lot of the readers who really love the book. Proverbs 14:30 says, a peaceful heart leads to a healthy body. I have certainly found this to be true. It can be an obvious answer when bitterness and resentment have caused physical sickness and pain. But even when there is truly something medical wrong that causes physical ailments, maintaining a peaceful heart throughout the situation can help the body heal or become healthy. My life of more than 30 years of pain started when I was 8 years old. That was when the headaches started. The migraines continued for years, followed by all kinds of aches and pains throughout my body. Before I even turned 40, I often told people I felt like I was 90, and I wasn't exaggerating. As I looked to many different methods for healing, I came to know this one thing: God heals. Sometimes spiritual issues such as bitterness lead to physical ailments that are healed instantly after forgiving the offending party. Other times, doctors remove foreign masses or other invaders from our bodies, but it is God who guides the surgeon's hand. And still other times, the healing may come from modern medicine's natural remedies or lifestyle changes. Not all physical problems are caused by spiritual problems, but when there is no medical explanation, as you will often read about in my story, a peaceful heart does lead to a healthy body. When doctors could not give me an accurate diagnosis, I learned quickly to seek God for the answer. He can always tell the doctors or me what needs to be done to reach my healing. This memoir chronicles my personal journey to health. The stories are in chronological order, although they often each span different time periods and often overlap each other. The conversations are as accurate as I remember, though they are often condensed. It made the story flow more smoothly to combine several conversations into one or two. Facts and dates have been reconstructed from my memory, social media post histories, and available medical records. The names of all my doctors and health practitioners have been changed. I had too many to remember them all, but they are all important. I also changed their names because I went through a period of time in which I saw a number of doctors who were very unhelpful. They weren't particularly bad doctors. They may help many of their patients. They just did not help me, and I don't want to disparage any of their reputations. My journey to health is not complete. I am only 45 as of this publication, so I know I have a lot of life left to experience. I am in an aging body bound to an earth that is still suffering from man's first decision to sin. I am otherwise healthy because I learned to accept God's gift of peace through any trial or circumstance. I am thankful for the chance to write about the different physical ailments I have been healed from, knowing it will build my faith and yours to remain healthy and healed. I hope that in each chapter you will find something that relates to your own situation. Let God show you what form of healing is right for you. Pray He gives you your health and health provider's wisdom. He is always faithful to answer, sometimes in creative ways that you might not have ever considered. May God bless you with a peaceful heart and healthy body. And the chapter I want to read from is called The Pain Returns. At the time this chapter was written, I had been through 6 surgeries already. I was facing a 7th one. And I did eventually have a total of 7 surgeries, but this was not going to be one of them. But this is how it unfolded. After about a year after Dr. Davis performed surgery on my right shoulder, just about the time my second foot was operated on, the pain in my right shoulder began to return. It wasn't too bad at first. Since it had taken a year for my left shoulder to fully recover and no longer have pain, I was willing to wait and see what happened. If the pain got much worse, I would go back to Dr. Davis. If it got better, there was no need to worry my doctors or myself again. An incident in the fall of 2016 gave me a hint that I might need to brace myself for another wild rounds of doctors, surgeries, and physical therapy. Lee and I were walking on a wooded trail when we came to a very steep, nearly 90 degrees, 2-foot-tall incline. I instinctively reached out my right hand and grabbed the nearest tree trunk to pull myself up the tiny hill. I felt the same sharp and sudden pain I had felt way back when I first hurt my left shoulder all those years before on the job site. Only this time it hurt much worse. I couldn't move. I stood on the trail screaming with pain while Lee held me close. I eventually got myself together and we moved on. I didn't think too much of the incident after that, but the pain in that right shoulder did continue to worsen. By March 2017, the pain in my right shoulder was so bad I was forced to return to Dr. Davis. Once again, my shoulder had lost range of motion. I couldn't sleep on it, and I couldn't lift my hand or my arm to a reasonable height. Dr. Davis ordered another MRI. My follow-up appointment to go over the results was on a Wednesday. This time, Dr. Davis referred to the arthritis the test showed in my distal clavicle, or the outer end of my collarbone. He said he wanted to redo the surgery. This time, though, it would not be arthroscopy with small, practically invisible incisions. No, he wanted to do an open surgery. He planned to remove more of the bone spurs and take out the arthritic part of my collarbone. We initially scheduled the surgery for the soonest that was available for both him and me, my birthday. Having surgery on my brother's birthday once was one thing, but no one wants surgery on her own birthday. I left his office quite disappointed, but I was willing to go through anything I had to in order to get rid of the pain. When I got in my car, I made a few declarations. I don't want to lose part of my clavicle, I said. I don't know a lot about the human body, but I know that the collarbone gives your torso structure, helps you maintain your posture. And I knew without it, I could lose a lot of strength and progress that had already been made with my shoulder as a whole. No, I did not want to go through with the surgery, but I did not see another option at that moment. And I'm going to skip ahead. I said, God, who am I to expect healing without surgery when so many others never receive healing at all? Johnny Erickson Tata is still in a wheelchair after all these years. What makes me so different? Who am I that I should believe for healing? I believe God whispered to me, you are still the little girl who, when the doctor told her she would have to have her tonsils removed if she got strep throat one more time, she said, then I'll never get it again, and you didn't. If you refuse to accept this surgery, you aren't going to need to have it. I said, then I refuse to have it. I will not accept the need for surgery. The pain left my arm instantly, and except for the typical pain that comes when I overexert it or start exercising it in ways I didn't before, the pain has not returned. So that's my book, and it's available on Amazon. You can find me on my website, michelleewatson.com. I am also on Facebook under Michelle E. Watson. Peaceful Heart Coaching is on Facebook as well, but please look carefully because there's two. One is mine and another is New Age. And she's not been active since like 2017. So you can see the difference between the two of us. But that's how you find me.
Okay. Felicia says she agree with you. Drama does show up as pain in the body.
It does. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed listening to all the other authors too. So.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really good. Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, and that was Michelle E. Watson. Remember to put the E in the middle. Patrice, are you still on? Michelle had a question for you. She says, a very nice story, Patrice. I really enjoyed the excerpt. And Patricia is cute. Do you have sickle cell, Patrice? And for Samantha, Michelle said they all sound great. All right. We're waiting for 3 more authors to come up. I'm just waiting for author Joy Blue, Francis Dupree, and Rasheedah Jackson. I hope everyone's doing well today. I'm sorry for the internet connections going in and out and that sort of thing. I would like to welcome Tanya and B. Knox, Isha, Arthur Calendar, Danielle, Sharon, and Patrice for coming in, and for Felicia coming in also. You need the link, Joy. Let me link it again. Okay, Joy, that's the link. I just sent it, baby. Again, I hope everyone has had a blessed day. And I truly, truly appreciate everyone coming in. Joy, I just sent the link in a group text. In the group text, I sent you the link. And I'm still waiting on Francis Dupree. And I'm waiting on Rasheedah Jackson. Now, if you would like to be a part of the Pop-Up Authors Live, please, by all means, let me know. I'm so dark. Wow. Let me go back over here a little bit. Yeah, that's better. All right. Now we have Joy just stepped in. Let's go ahead with Joy. Hey, Joy, how you doing?
Hey, sweetheart. How are you?
Fine. How are you? Tell us who you are. Tell us about your books, and you can read a snippet from one of your books.
Okay. I am formerly known as author Malia J. I write urban romance, urban suspense. I have 4 publications total. I'm actually out of paperbacks. You caught me with my last one, which is part 1 of Someone Like You. I'll be reading from that today.
Mhm.
But I have a completed series of Someone Like You 1 and 2. I have 2 standalones, Built for a Boss and He Can't Love You.
Mhm.
And I'm currently working on 2 more books. They will be urban romance and urban fiction. Um, and that's about it right now. I'm 34. I love poetry. That's my first love. And this would be one of my favorite books that I've written to date. Like, this complete series is my baby. I love it. I had so much fun writing it, and it is on the wild side. This is a mixture of what I call urban fiction and urban romance because I kind of want to give the readers the best of both worlds. Um, I'm going to read an excerpt from my favorite character that I created. Her name is Amber, and
Mhm.
she is wild, wild. She's disrespectful and the whole nine, but you'll get some more of that in a minute. Is it okay? Real quick, is it okay for profanity?
No.
Okay. So bear with me because I'm going to be bleeping quite a lot.
Okay.
Okay. Azaria's slick mouth irks my last nerves. She was lucky I was going shopping that day, or I would have told her about herself. She always acted so stuck up because she was with that lame guy, David. But little did she know he wasn't anything. I tried to tell her when she first introduced us that he wasn't who he claimed to be, but the girl doesn't listen, so oh well. I wouldn't have even gone over there if that fine man Mark hadn't flagged me down. And to think I almost didn't turn around. I was very disappointed when he didn't follow me over there, so my attitude was already on 10. Although I did enjoy seeing my almighty older sister with her dried up snot and tear stains on her face. Rolling over, I noticed the time and figured I might as well get up and get ready to head to the club. I danced down at Club Whiplash, and guys say I put Diamond from Players Club out of commission in the 2 years I'd been working the pole. Sliding out of my plush king-size bed, I strolled into my bathroom and turned on the water in my stone-faced walk-in shower and couldn't help but think about the money I would make tonight. It was a Monday night, and believe it or not, I always made the most on Mondays. Rich big businessmen could easily get out of the house excusing it on business rather than Friday through Sunday. So I was preparing to drain their pockets and bank accounts tonight. You caught me off guard with your gas. um, Once my hygiene was up to par, I rubbed my entire body, including Miss Kitty, in my amber body butter and opted for a bikini for underwear. Throwing my hair up in a messy bun, I dressed in leggings and a crop top with sneakers on my feet. I wasn't going to bother with makeup because I always opted to beat my face in the dressing rooms anyway. I could tell I was going to make a grip tonight when I pulled into the parking lot and saw it filled to capacity. I drove past the bouncer and honked so he could have someone meet me in the rear lot and walk me in. He tried his best to mac to me, but little did he know, he didn't stand a chance. I knew what his checks looked like, and he couldn't afford my lifestyle, no way. Once inside, I headed straight to the dressing rooms while waving to the DJ, so he knew to put my song in queue. Just as soon as I sat down and started beating my face to perfection, one of the newbies came in, gushing over some dude, so I played my part and sat quietly as I ear hustled. Yo, daddy was fine, and his pockets were even deeper. I asked him if he gave a private show, could he give me a reason to pull his dreads? He said no, but the dude still hit me off with a C note for my troubles, she rambled on. I wonder who it was, but didn't put too much thought into it because I would soon find out enough. Face beat to the high heavens, I quickly stripped down to the bikini I had underneath and exited to do my walkabout. It didn't take me long to get to my first customer of the night, and he was making me mad by being too freaking grabby. I stood from his lap and turned around to give him a piece of my mind when I spotted Mark in the crowd. By this time, I didn't care that dude was grabbing on my boobs anymore. I was too busy plotting. I've had my eyes on Mark the minute he started hugging the block, but I was invincible to him. I knew he had a thing for my sister's friend Seven, but her lame behind wasn't checking for him, and I wanted him all to myself. Daydreaming about the many ways to spend Mark's money, I almost missed my stage call warning. Rushing to the back, I quickly changed into my military fatigue stage outfit and waited on the DJ to play my cue. As I took my sweet time catwalking to the pole in the middle of the strip, I made sure to make eye contact with the ballers closest to the stage until they landed on Mark. I did a few flips on the pole before climbing it to the top and hanging upside down to look into the crowd. The stage was still dry, so I signaled for the DJ to pause my music. I had 3 songs in my performance, and I was known for holding the stage up if I didn't see the money. Men started griping as soon as the music stopped, and I even caught a few of the other dancers rolling their eyes in my direction. I had no cares to give. I didn't dance until I saw the moolah. Finally, a homely looking fellow in a nice suit separated from the crowd and pointed a money gun at the ceiling in my direction. And as soon as I saw those big face bills littering the stage, I started my all-star performance and the DJ continued my mix. By the time I slid down to the bottom of the pole, Mark was standing front and center with a mean mug plastered across his handsome face. So I got on all fours and slid backwards on my knees until my butt cheeks were mere inches from his body and began my twerk fest. I made sure that I worked every angle of that stage just because Mark was in the building. It didn't mean I wasn't about to chase this paper. At the end of my set, I threw in a wink in his direction and walked off the dressing rooms to get dressed again as security collected my money off the stage. I dressed in a barely there bikini top and matching sheer thong and paraded throughout the crowd giving $10 dances. I usually didn't bother with giving them since it was more work than the pay, but I was on the hunt for Mark, except for I couldn't find him anywhere. I even checked the VIP and the private booths, but he was nowhere to be found. Giving up, I said, forget it, and went to gather my things and cash out. What's our time looking like?
You good?
Okay. I woke up in the middle of the night with my stomach cramping out of control. It hurt so bad, I barely could make it out of the bed and into the bathroom. It wasn't until I was seated on the porcelain throne that I noticed blood on my thighs. I cursed my luck because I figured my cycle was on its way when it didn't come last month. Thank goodness it didn't start until I'd gotten home because there was nothing worse than discovering your period struck during working hours. Men could be downright disrespectful about it in the club. I stood up to flush the toilet and jump in the shower, but almost fainted when I saw the massive clumps of blood in the toilet bowl. With the energy I had left, I made it back to the bedroom and picked up my cell to call Azaria. Do you know what freaking time it is? You better be dying or at least laid up in the hospital because if you're not, I'm about to put you there. Azaria spazzed off as soon as she answered. I think I think I'm having a miscarriage, sis. I need you. I cried into the phone. Are you at home? Get dressed. I'm on the way. She rushed off the phone and I went to try to put a pad on so I wouldn't mess up her car. As soon as I got in the car, she fired off questions that I didn't even know the answers to, nor did I want to share the answers. So I just reclined the seat and closed my eyes. Once we arrived, they quickly swept me to the back, and despite my arguments, my sister insisted on accompanying me to the back. The nurses confirmed that I indeed was having a miscarriage and left the room rushing to set up my DNC procedure. Azaria sat next to me with a look of shock on her face. What's wrong with you? You aren't grieving or anything. Did you hear what the doctor just said? You were a month pregnant, she said, concerned. Yeah, I heard him. It's for the best anyway. That freaking baby would have stretched my body all out of shape. Besides, ain't no dude trying to see no pregnant female working the pole. I spat. Shoot, unlike her, I spent major cash for my body to look like it did. Luckily, my light skin, juicy lips, and deep dimples had dudes calling me Lauren London's twin, so it was only right that I made sure my body matched my face. Azaria was lucky to resemble Taraji Henson, except for her butt was out of this world. Probably didn't even know who the freaking daddy was, no way, Azaria tried to mumble under her breath. Little did she know, I knew exactly who knocked me up. See, when I say David was no good, I meant it with reason. For the past 2 months, we've been sexing like rabbits. He liked how spontaneous I was, and I liked the way he laced my pockets, but I couldn't tell her that. None of your freaking business, B, I yelled in her face with spit flying. Matter of fact, do me a solid. Just wait in the freaking waiting room till I'm done, I said, turning over in the hospital bed, facing my back to her. I had nothing else for her uppity behind, and I meant it. How about I do you even better? I'll take my behind home, and you can call your so-called baby daddy to pick your nasty behind up, she said, almost knocking the doctor down, who was entering as she sped out of the room. The doctor recovered quickly and approached me with a serious look on his face, and I prepared to hear the worst. Hello, my name is Dr. Simpson, and I'm here to explain the DNC procedures to you. Our goal today will be to prevent any hemorrhaging and infection. While he was talking, a nurse entered the room and began searching my arm for a vein. Nurse Blue is setting you up so she can give you some antibiotics and anesthesia intravenously. Once you are numb, we will insert a speculum to keep the cervix open and use this to scrape and suction the lining of the uterus. Once we're satisfied that the uterus is firm and the bleeding is minimal, you will be off to recovery. We'll observe you for a few hours or so, and then you can be released with a prescription. Do you have any questions for me? Dr. Simpson asked while giving me an empathetic smile. I was sure he dealt with this all the time, so I wasn't going to play the grieving woman. Yeah, I do. Just one. How long will I continue to bleed for? I work down at Club Whiplash, and I can't be taking off too many days or I might get replaced, I asked, cutting to the chase. Although he tried his best to conceal his true feelings, I still caught his face briefly twist up in disgust before he answered my question. Well, most women can return to normal activities within a few days. Some even feel good enough to return to normal activities within 24 hours. I would not advise going to work since that includes strenuous activity and you can expect to bleed anywhere from a couple of days up to 2 weeks. Refrain from using tampons during this time, Dr. Simpson answered before nodding at Nurse Blue to administer the medication. There was no way I would be able to return to work until I stopped bleeding, so I might as well turn this into a mini vacation. After they left the room to wait for the anesthesia to kick in, I reached in my purse and called up the boss man. He wasn't going to like what I had to say, but I was not going to be any good until I completely healed.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
I tried my best to leave out the profanity.
Thank you. Thank you. Now tell everyone where they can get in contact with you and get your books.
You may find me on Facebook under my personal profile at Joy Blue. That's JOY_BLUE, just like the color. I also have a Facebook page for all of my books. It's Behind the Pages of Malia J, or Behind the Pen of Malia J. You can find me on Instagram and any other social media under author Malia J in some variational form. And don't be scared. I love comments and questions. So jump in my inbox. I'm just like you. I don't bite.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I enjoyed myself.
Have a good one. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. That was Joy Blue. Y'all heard it right there. All right. Next we have up Rasheedah Jackson. Hi, Rasheedah. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Fine. You can tell everyone about you and about your books, and you can read snippets from your book.
Okay. My name is Rasheedah Jackson. I just released my first book February 22nd of this year. The title of my book is From Pillars to Commandments, My Journey of Conversion. And it basically kind of talks about how I grew up as a Black Muslim and how I converted to Christianity. I'm currently a director of PR at a HBCU. I am in school also getting my master's degree in clinical mental health. And I live in Mississippi with my husband, and I just love people, spending time with my family, friends, and loved ones. Um, I guess I'll start off by reading a chapter out of my book. So I'm going to go to chapter 1. I start off with a quote where it says, I've been struck personally and in my experience as president by the human and moral values which Americans as people share with Islam. We share first and foremost a deep faith in the one superior being. We are all commanded by him to faith, compassion, and justice. We have a common respect and reverence for law. Despite the strains of the modern age, we continue to place special importance on the family and the home. And we share a belief that hospitality is a virtue and that the host, whether a nation or an individual, should behave with generosity and honor towards guests. That is by Jimmy Carter, U.S. President. Chapter 1 is called Islam. I'm not sure at what age you're even taught about religion. I mean, it's not like as children we have a choice of what religion we want to follow or pursue. Then, once we do come of age, there is an expectation to just stay with that religion, even if it's not spiritually and mentally fulfilling. I'm sure many of you would disagree, as religion is a permanent decision and a relationship with God. But how do you know as a child what you really want out of that relationship with Him, or rather, what fits your needs? God knows because He is the one who created you.
Mhm.
Often it's not taught why you are Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, etc. You pretty much just go with the flow of things. Furthermore, it's also not taught how we should respect other people's religion and their religious choices. John 13:34-35 says, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. You are also to love one another. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another." I honestly believe that if we were to reach out to our brothers and sisters of other faiths and try to understand and learn about them, the outcome would be different. Let's be honest with ourselves. How many of you have sat down and talked with someone of another faith and asked why they believe this? And once they answered and then asked you if you could explain about your religion. Sometimes religion is so forced they can run an individual off. Sometimes people are so insensitive to other people's feelings, culture, and religion that they will let anything come out of their mouths. But these things are taught to us just like everything else in life. At what point do we decide to be different and change that? As I previously stated, I'm not even sure I understood the concept of who God was, what Islam was, and what Christianity was at such a young age. Nevertheless, I became a religious person at one point in my life. At a young age, religious to me meant reading the Quran and praying to someone and thanking them for all they had given me in this life. This chapter is kind of hard to write about because it reminds me of something that I left behind, something that was a part of me and my life for so many years. But it is also something that caused an array of emotions from grief, confusion, and anger to joyous and proud moments as well. I still have love for Islam and the culture that goes along with it. I respect Muslims because I used to be one and I know what they go through, especially living in today's times. Islam was a very sensitive subject for me to talk about, especially during my preteen to adulthood years. After 9/11 happened, a lot of ignorance came along with it. People often judge things that they don't understand or choose not to understand. As a young adult and teen, I often had to defend my faith to others, religious brothers and sisters, mainly Christians. Instead of them trying to get to know me or understand my religion and culture, I was often picked on because of it. I was called a terrorist, picked on for my name, what I could and could not eat, and they also picked on my family. I often felt too embarrassed to say anything. I never corrected what was said about Islam due to the fear of backlash and wanting to fit in with my peers. I was ashamed because I felt like I disappointed and denied God like Peter did in the Bible. But I often will hope that God will understand why I did those things. Before we jumped into the religious aspects of my life, I'll tell you what I was like as a child. I have always been eclectic and outgoing, but I also very shy. I was a very loving and giving child. I had so much love and passion for people that I often tried so hard to make sure that others were happy. I love school and anything that has to do with education or learning. But one thing I struggled with was self confidence and the need to always prove myself to others. I wanted people to see me for who I was. As you read further, you will see why these confidence issues become a major part of my life. There were two words that I used to identify with. I guess I still can identify with them as they did help me make me into the person I am today. Islam, Muslim. What do you think about when you hear or see those two words? What do you know about the religion and its followers? Have you ever taken the time to learn about or get to know someone of a different faith than yours? Well, for me, it was a major part of my life and my culture. Do I still have time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Islam is the religion of the Muslims, a monotheistic faith regarding as revealed through Muhammad as the prophet of Allah or God. I grew up in a household with a Christian father, Baptist, and a Muslim mother, non denominational. She didn't identify with any particular sector of being a certain Muslim. Now, I know you might be thinking, how did that happen? But dating outside your religion is quite common. Anyhow, when it comes to religion, both parents should be in charge of teaching the child about religion. But most of the time, the responsibility falls on one, and that usually is the caregiver, which is the mother. Well, at least that's how it was in my household. In my family's case, my mom was the caregiver, which is why I was a Muslim and a follower of Islam. I was very proud of being a practicing Muslim. Every Sunday, my mom would show me how to pray and would teach me the pillars and lessons of the Quran. I also learned about fasting during the month of Ramadan. I can say this, we were not traditional Muslims. I did not wear my head covered. However, I did dress modestly, meaning all my clothes were past my knee. I was very covered up. Before I go further, I want to inform you more about what Islam really is. When people hear or think of the word Islam, they think of individuals from the Middle East or Arabic descent. Islam is the 7th century when the Prophet Muhammad began to deliver God's messages in the area of the Arabian Peninsula. But there is also the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam is an African American religion that was founded around 1930. The Nation of Islam is also known for their teachings regarding a combination of traditional Islam elements with Black nationalist ideas, and they advocate for Black unity, self-help, and preserve a firm structure of discipline regarding their members. The Nation of Islam are Black Muslims, and they believe in the truth of the Bible. However, they also believe that the Bible has been altered and been reinterpreted so that humankind won't be tricked by falsehoods that have been added to it. Islam is the world's second largest religion with an estimate of 1.6 billion Muslim followers. The word Islam actually means submission to God. A Muslim, therefore, is a follower that strives to submit to God. Islam was founded in 1600 AD by a man named Muhammad. Muhammad is a well-known prophet of Allah. Just like Christians have the 10 commandments to follow, Muslims have the 5 pillars of Islam. These 5 pillars are the outline of Muslim life. 1 is faith, 2 prayer, 3 charity, 4 fasting, and 5 pilgrimage to Mecca. As I said it before, as children, we do not get to choose religion. As a matter of fact, we do not get to choose a lot of things in life. Islam was a bigger part of my life, but as I got older and started to experience things for myself, I changed my ideology about many things, including religion. A lot of people still think negatively of Islam when it is indeed a religion of peace, and so are its followers. 9/11 was a terrible thing that happened. However, not all Muslims should be judged by that horrific event. Also, like Christians, there are some cultural differences in different denominations of Muslim. I grew up as a Black Muslim. Honestly, I probably started getting confused about religion when my mom was trying to ensure that I received the best education opportunities possible, and she sent me to a private Seventh-day Adventist school. Can you imagine being one religion and attending school, learning and practicing another one? I was often confused and sometimes scared to even ask questions because of how people treated me because of my religion. Let's be clear, at one point in time, I hated Christianity and Christians because of how they treated me, my family, and my other brothers and sisters of the faith. I was attacked and often told I was going to hell because of the religion I chose, and I was never told why. No one ever took the time out to explain Christianity and its principles to me. They just told me to get my life right. Not quite sure what that meant, what they meant by that. This takes a toll on a child after a while. At least it did for me. I didn't know what to believe anymore, but I didn't feel that I could tell that to anyone. I honestly see why a lot of people stray away from religion. Perhaps if I had fellowship with more Muslims by attending a mosque more often, I would have continued down that path. But honestly, after a while, it became emotionally draining and I started to not be spiritually satisfied. I was always confused about certain things. That's not to say that Christianity wasn't confusing either, because it was. I always want to know why, when we are having issues with our religion or how we feel about it, there's never a discussion. It is deemed as taboo, like it's an unwritten rule. I also noticed the lack of mental health support when it comes to religion. I believe there can be a good balance of having both. If God created us to be doctors, counselors, and teachers, then why is mental health not considered important too?
Mhm.
Okay, so
Thank
that was
you.
chapter one.
Okay, how can people get in contact with you and find your book?
My book is on Amazon and also Kindle. I have a Facebook page, Author Rasheedah Jackson. I have an Instagram page, Author Rasheedah Jackson 22. I also have a Twitter, Author Raw J. And yeah, that's how they can contact me.
All right. Thank you for coming in, Rasheedah. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everyone. That's it for tonight. That was Felicia Kelly Brookins, Patrice Rivers, Arthur Samantha J. or Arthur Samantha Jackson, Michelle E. Watson, Joy Blue, and Arthur Rasheedah Jackson. Please go find their books on Amazon. They're all on Facebook. Go find them, purchase their books, and don't forget to write a review. I appreciate everyone coming in today. If you would like to be on the panel for Thursday, April 23rd from 2:30 to 3:30 or 6:30 to 7:30, please, by all means, let me know in the group and I will sign you up. I have uh, openings from 2:30 to 3:30, and I only have a couple left from 6:30 to 7:30. So if you would like to go on in the pop-up Arthur's Live this Thursday coming the 23rd, 2:30 to 3:30, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, please let me know. And again, please participate in our group. I really do appreciate all the active members. I don't mind. We don't mind you posting, but also comment to some of the discussions or some of the things that's going on. I did put a poll up earlier this evening. I want to sponsor a game night. I did it last Saturday. We had a few people come in, but I want to start game night. You have an option of polling for Friday night, Saturday night, or Sunday afternoon. So please, if you see that post, please comment to it. Let me know what day you would like, and majority wins. So I'll see you then. Take care, and I appreciate everyone. Have a nice evening. Bye.